Hey guys, happy 2021. Welcome back. Today I thought I would kind of sit down, do my makeup in front of the camera, and as I'm doing my makeup, just kind of talk about lessons I learned in 2020. These are like major lessons that I learned. Life is all about experience. You learn new things every single day. You take away from so many things, like the mistakes you made and how you can go and become the best version of yourself, basically. But in 2020, there were a lot of lessons we all learned given the circumstances that we all lived through. I'm gonna do a concoction of like 3 different things. I know, bear with me. Take this Becca Backlight Priming Filter. Gonna take the e.l.f. Foundation Serum, and then EX1 invisiwear. I like to mix all these 3 things up because it gives me like that perfect formulation, and I'm super lazy to apply it separately. First, and the most major lesson I learned in 2020 was to appreciate the most smallest things in life. There were certain things that we just took for granted, just simply being able to go out without the need to wear a mask, and even just simply going out in general just seems so different from normal. Appreciate like the smallest things in life, simple as being able to go out without the need to wear a mask. Whenever you felt down, you would kind of go see your friends and have like a good time and just kind of like get out of a funk. You feel like really down and you just want to go out away from like your normal everyday space. You're not able to, because you know you have to keep yourself and the people around you safe, and so it's really hard to talk and do makeup at the same time. I can't be philosophical and do my makeup. But I quit my job in 2019, like end of 2019, and I was job searching in 2020, and that's like how more than half of my 2020 went. It's like me super depressed, trying to find a job, all these like interviews, and a lot of the companies stopped hiring as well because of the pandemic. So that was like very difficult, but I also started to appreciate, thankful for the smallest things that we take for granted. Being able to go out, being able to see your friends, your family, just to live life without that constant fear. I mean, danger is all around us no matter what. Just driving a car is super dangerous. It's just the fact that this thing has just become such a nightmare in everyone's life, and trying to transition into the new normal was definitely very tough. So appreciate things around you, appreciate life, appreciate the smallest things that you take for granted, your health, fresh air in your lungs. You know, you don't have a job, it's okay. There are so many other people that lost their job because of the pandemic, things that are continuing to happen. And this in 2020 just kind of opened up my eyes to a lot of things and taught me to not like sit down and mope about one thing because it didn't go my way, when there are people that are constantly struggling and fighting for their life, and that are dealing with how they lost a job and how they're going to provide for their family in the upcoming months and the upcoming years. So that was the one thing that I really started to kind of change my mindset on, is to never ever just like take anything for granted, to really love each and every struggle that you're dealing with, because that struggle is going to make you a much stronger version of yourself. That's how you learn, that's how you grow. It kind of changed my perspective on so many things, that really kind of shifted my personality as well. I'm actually going to color correct a little bit. I don't think I ever talked about this here on my channel, but this is the Vasanti Liquid VO2 Color Correcting Concealer. I did a campaign for them when this launched on my Instagram, and I've actually been really liking it. On days where I want to take that extra step and color correct, I will use this. What I like about this, it's not super orangey, because sometimes I feel like orangey does not really work for my skin tone. I don't wear like super full coverage base products. I feel like orange concealers just really take a lot of time to work into my skin, and then whatever I put on top, I kind of have to layer on excess product because you can still see that orange peeping through. This has like a really nice like light coverage as well, so I enjoy it a lot. Second thing I learned was, and this is actually one of the saddest things that I kind of came across, is how divided we are in the United States as a country. Lived through major historic events this year, the biggest movements since the civil rights, and that's the Black Lives Matter protests. During this time with the whole Black Lives Matter thing, I found myself in like a very gray area. I just didn't understand, we were living in the 21st century, the most like ethnically diverse countries. Why our voices are not being heard. How like law enforcement can get away with targeting innocent Black people in fire, and no one is bringing those victims into justice. Just the entire justice system in general really kind of left me baffled. Black people have been targeted by the police ever since I can remember. I was in middle school, you know, in high school, I heard stories. It's just become so much more prominent now because of we have a powerful tool called social media. Back in the days, young people, we never used to watch the news, so you would just hear your parents talking about it, like what happened. And now that we have social media as a way to display about things that are going around us, we're always on social media, so there's no way you don't hear about innocent people being killed all around the world in our country, you know, certain ethnicities and races being targeted. What really kind of shocked me was there's no way innocent woman is shot in her bed, no way that a man can get strangled by cops in a public area and have that video go viral and yet not gain justice unless people made a huge deal about it. People went out and protested, and you know, even with the protest, there's so much injustice that you see, like cops just like treating them with so much disrespect and being so violent. These people are trying to fight for their rights, for justice, for wanting to be equal. 2021, what happened with the whole like White House situation, Trump supporters just rioting in front of the Capitol was really shocking, because the way that cops or the National Guard were treating these people compared to what they were doing with the protesters during the BLM movement, that no one sees that huge like inequality. And that's when it hit me that wow, this country is super divided. We had to make an entire movement protest and speak out loud just to get their voices heard, just to go and get the simplest form of justice and to feel like an equal in this country. A very depressing year. I feel like I can't even explain things correctly because there's just so many things going on in my mind and just so many points. Here in the 21st century, it's 2020. You would think things are much different now compared to like the 1960s, but it's almost like there's that embedded racism in some people and some races that so ugly, and it's just starting to come out, and it became a lot more prominent when Trump was elected president. Trump just really made people come out in the open and be like, yeah, I'm racist, so what? Really increased vocal racism, in my opinion. Like, racism has always been there, but the fact that violence and these sort of actions have increased ever since Trump was elected and just kind of skyrocketed in 2020 has really just kind of left me speechless and purely disgusted. I feel like I'm talking too much and I'm not doing my makeup. When I'm in my feels, guys, like legit, no one can shut me up. And I feel like I'm one of those people, I feel like I have so much going on in my brain and I want to make each and every point relevant, but sometimes whatever's in my brain makes sense compared to when I try to like explain it to someone. Just used this e.l.f. hydrating camo concealer. I used it in deep cinnamon. And then the next thing that I learned is you have to be open to new opportunities in your life and you have to get out of your comfort zone. I feel like majority of the time we are so happy in like our comfort space that we don't want to get out of our comfort zone, and we just kind of want to stay in there and feel like everything is going right in our life. Move forward, you have to get out of your comfort zone. This lesson, I've learned it in several different ways. Like, it can be a relationship, it can be, you know, getting a new job. Get a new job in August, and I'm still working with the company now. I absolutely love where I work. In the beginning, on my first day, I was really miserable because I didn't want to make a wrong decision again like I did with my previous job. I had a lot of anxiety. I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm working out in the pandemic. What if I get it and I bring it home? There was just so much uncertainty going on, but I was like, no, I have to get out of my comfort zone. After 8 months of job searching, I finally got a job. After like the first week of training, I loved my job. I loved my company. I loved the people I was working with, and you know, just like your manager and everything. And it made me realize that world out there isn't as scary as it looks like from the inside. And also, you just have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to take action. If you want to change your life, you have to change your ways. This is kind of like an advice you should always take with a grain of salt. Never just like, you know, do something that you're super like not into, is out of your comfort zone. At the end of the day, you know, I loved biology and I loved doing what I'm doing, and I know that every step you take, you learn something new. So that's definitely like one thing that I told myself, that I'm not going to go and quit. Got an amazing opportunity getting to work with COVID-19 and to help people, you know, and be a part of this entire thing that's going to go down in history is honestly very rewarding. And I just wanted to tell myself that it's not as scary as it looks. I would also say that with relationships as well, that, you know, when you go into a relationship with someone, depending who you are as a person, getting yourself out there, putting yourself out there, and just changing like the everyday sort of routine that you kind of made for yourself, because we get so comfortable in that routine that we just don't want to step out of it. So that is definitely one thing that I give myself props for, and something that I do want to take down in like the years to come is to be open to new opportunities, take a leap of faith and do it, because it's better whether it works out or not. You will not live your life in regret knowing like, what if I did this? What if I continued with this? You're just gonna go on, be like, okay, it worked out, great, I'm so happy I took this opportunity. Or okay, it didn't work out, I'm so happy I took this opportunity. You never know like what you want in life until you either fall down and learn from it, or if you make it to the finish line. It's just folding my brows because I can't talk and do my brows at the same time, but I use this Anastasia brow wiz. You guys already know it's my favorite. I'm gonna show you guys how I use this Patrick Ta shaping wax. So I just kind of take my little spray and I'm just gonna spray it in the pan. Just is so messy. That's like the only thing I hate about this. I wet it in order to like activate the wax, but I'm just gonna take a spoolie, run my spoolie through it. Also, I feel like the wax really kind of gets on the spoolie and makes it super disgusting and just kind of builds up the product. So I do recommend getting disposable spoolies if you are gonna get this. Comb my eyebrows upwards, and sometimes it's a little too intense for me, so I just take my finger to myself that this Ilia palette was in my 2020 favorites, but I have yet to use it on camera. So we're gonna do an eye look all from the Ilia palette. It's gonna go in with this MAC 217 brush, and I'm gonna go in with this little transition color. Really noticed is how materialistic human beings can be. And we've kind of like set this materialistic persona in a lot of things that we do in our everyday life. And I think one of the biggest things for me that I've realized is a lot of people love showing off, and a pandemic is definitely not going to stop a big event in their life from taking place. I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, because I don't know, because if I was in this situation, I know what I would do, but then again, I feel like it's a lot easier said than done. So I definitely don't want to come off as a hypocrite. And at the end of the day, it's like people do what they want to do. And you know, like I just don't want to be a judgmental brat. A lot also through like YouTube and like seeing people's like vlogs and how they were kind of living their life in 2020. A little disappointing, because they would go out on vacation still. Like as soon as airlines were open, they gave their A-OK to travel again. People decided it's okay to travel. I'm gonna take this burgundy color with this Morphe M167 brush, and just people I knew that, you know, they were starting a huge chapter in their life and they were going to get married. They couldn't like throw this big wedding that they had always dreamed up. And for Pakistanis, like we have like 5 wedding events that I don't even know why we have 5 wedding events. It's absolutely ridiculous to me. I'm never going to have like 3 to 5 events on my wedding. It's either like one nice like wedding and call it a day, do everything else at home, and you literally don't need to do anything too big or too crazy. But obviously I'm me, and people have different way of living life, which is totally fine. But during a pandemic, I feel like people really just, some people did not care that we were in a pandemic. They just cared about having a big wedding because, you know, ever since they were little, this is what they dreamed of, and, you know, here the sob story comes, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. We as human beings evolve according to our environment. In 2020, our environment totally shifted and we couldn't be as social. Go out with your friends, you couldn't see people, you couldn't throw like big wedding events and baby showers and birthday parties and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, we had, which I totally understand, but it doesn't mean, and it doesn't give you the right to go and put yourself and the people around you in danger by throwing a big ass wedding event. Like, a wedding is a beautiful event, and I think, yes, you know, it should be made beautiful and grand, and it sucks, and honestly I feel bad for people in 2020 had like a wedding plan and they had to cancel everything, and I understand, and honestly those people have my biggest respect. I've had friends that planned a really nice wedding and we were looking forward to their weddings. They canceled their hall, they did it at home with their closest friends and family, and yes, that's still dangerous. However, we as human beings have to continue to live, and it's much better to kind of have something with your closest friends and your family members because it's so meaningful. You're starting a whole new chapter with the person you love. You should be looking forward to that rather than creating a sob story because you weren't able to have a full big wedding like you always dreamed of. Not about materialistic things. I feel like sometimes people do make weddings like super materialistic. It's not about being materialistic. It's about, you can throw a beautiful little event at home and just have like your closest family, your closest friends there. Try to be as safe as possible. And yes, COVID does spread really fast through small gatherings. It's still not safe, but at the same time, have a big wedding and have 200 people there that are traveling from like all around the world compared to just having like your closest buddies with you. I don't want to come off as judgmental. I really don't. And I feel like it's coming off that way, but it's more so just disappointment. Really do want big events, with there's nothing wrong with that. Delay it to like, you know, 2021 or 2022. Or if you're really just like, F it, I just want to start my life with this person, I could care less how like our event's gonna look like, and having to throw like big weddings or like a baby shower or whatever it may be that you're celebrating. Happiness you want to share with the people most closest to you around you, not so you can kind of have a big wedding and show off on social media or show off to like your friends, community members, your family, or, you know, just like there's so many other things I feel like people do. I just don't see the necessity. Definitely keep materialism out of your life, your personal life, and be super happy with what you have, even if it's not what you wanted. Be happy with it. Be content with it. If it's, you know, a wedding, be happy that you're starting your life with that person. Guys, and then for the lips, I'm just gonna go in with my go-to lip combo. This is the Rimmel Cafe Au Lait lip liner with the Anastasia matte lipstick in Staunch. Another thing that I learned was hold the people around you so close, because you never know when that person can go away from your life. You don't know when is the next time you're gonna see that person. Easy to take the people you have in your life for granted. Only fights happen, for instance, and there's this ego that everyone has, that everyone builds, and they just don't want to see that person again. And it's honestly because of misunderstandings. You just kind of keep things in your heart. Those things build up, they continue to build up, and then you just explode on that person, and that person literally doesn't even know what it is that they did wrong, when there are things that they did wrong and you just never talked to them about it, you never spoke up to them about it, and so it created a lot of misunderstanding. You know, I just feel like in order to avoid all those things, we need to, people that we know are really special in our life, your blood relations, your family, your friends that you know you've had such an amazing time with them, you know them as a person that they can never ever hurt you. Go out and talk to them rather than keeping things in your heart. Be a victim of that. I keep things in my heart. I try to let things go because I don't want to make it a big deal. But if that thing is constantly bothering you, then it is a big deal to you. It may not be a big deal to someone else, but again, if that person truly does love you and want to keep you in their life, they're gonna try to go and help you with that problem, and they're gonna understand that problem for you. Keep the people around you so close. In 2020, I'm pretty sure we all kind of have like a good idea of who our closest friends are, who our family is, what they mean, how we should always keep our family super close to us, especially in these difficult times, and also like who our friends are, who are our friends that we want to keep in our life, no matter if there's a pandemic going on or whatever the reason may be. That's like the cherry on top lesson that I learned, is to love your family, to be there for your friends, and just to build your relationships. Even if everything has gone virtual, you know, don't let those connections go. You want to make those relationships grow. That is where this video will end. I really hope you guys enjoyed me doing my makeup. I'm not the best at makeup, I'll be honest with you. Like, at least eye makeup, I definitely do focus a lot more on skin than I do eye. I don't even buy eyeshadow palettes anymore. This Ilia one was like the one that I bought after such a long time. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.